Okay, so we're going to turn back the clock today all the way to 1999, a time of dial-up, Y2K panic, and, well, some surprisingly solid advice. We're cracking open a guidebook from the turn of the millennium to explain its secrets to amazing sex.
Amazing sex. You hear that phrase everywhere, right? It's a goal, it's a promise, it's a punchline in movies. But what does it actually mean? Is it all about technique, some kind of performance, or is it something else? To figure that out, we've got to go back in time. Believe it or not, our guide for this little journey is the 1999 edition of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Amazing Sex. And its whole philosophy is actually really simple. Before you can build something great, you have to clear away all the junk. So the book frames this whole thing as a myth-busting adventure.
So let's start with the biggest one. The myth that, honestly, is still hanging around today. This idea that you need some kind of perfect, media-approved body to have amazing sex.
The guy just comes right out and asks this question, and it's so powerful because it taps into this really common, really private fear. The book's point is, look, if you're stuck in your head worrying about how you look, you can't possibly be present enough to actually enjoy yourself.
And the answer it gives? Wow. According to a study it references, a staggering 89% of women are unhappy with something about their appearance. That's just a huge number. And it's such a powerful reminder that if you've ever felt that way, you are so, so far from being alone.
So to start shifting this mindset, the guide does something kind of brilliant. It reframes the words we use. It draws this really important line between being naked and being nude. Being naked, it says, feels vulnerable, like you've been stripped. But being nude, well, that's a choice. It's voluntary, it's positive, it's powerful. It's a tiny difference in wording that captures a massive mental shift. Okay, so how do you actually build that confidence? The book's advice is really practical. It's kind of like fake it till you make it. Act confident to become confident. And get this, buy clothes that make you feel sexy right now, not for some body you think you're supposed to have in the future. The big takeaway is that sexiness isn't about a size on a tag. It's an attitude. It's all about confidence.
All right, moving on to myth number 2. The idea that there's some kind of script you're supposed to follow, a single right way to experience pleasure.
So the guide brings up the famous sexual response cycle, but it's really careful to frame it as a general pattern, not a strict formula you have to follow. Think of it like a map to help you understand the landscape, but everyone's journey through that landscape is going to be totally unique.
The cycle lays out these 5 general phases, desire, arousal, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. But, and this is the key point the book makes, this is not a checklist. These stages can blend together. They can happen in a different order. They can feel wildly different for each person and for each time. In other words, there's no correct way to feel. And speaking of exploring your own responses, the book just dives right in and tackles another huge myth head-on. With a healthy dose of 1999 humor, it just dismisses those old wives' tales. I love this quote. Did anyone ever tell you that masturbating will make you grow hair on your palms? Now you know it's not true. The guide's message on this is just so refreshingly direct, especially for its time. It states flat out that masturbation is a healthy, normal part of life for absolutely everyone. Whether you're single or in a relationship, it's not a sign that something's wrong. It's a way to discover yourself and experience pleasure. Simple as that. And that leads us perfectly into our third and final myth we're busting today. The big misconception that amazing sex is only about intercourse, or what the guide calls the main event. The book makes this fantastic point that great sex often starts hours, maybe even a whole day before you even get to the bedroom. It introduces this idea of all-day foreplay, building that connection and excitement all day long. And the suggestions are so charmingly 1999, like sending a sexy Polaroid. But the idea behind it is totally timeless. Make your partner feel wanted and desired long before things get physical. And to back this all up, the book presents a really empowering little factoid. In one study, 91% of people said that sex appeal is something that is acquired. It's not something you're just born with. It's a skill you can actually learn and get better at.
And of course, to keep things from getting boring, the book's motto is basically variety is the spice of life and sex. It really encourages being playful and experimenting, even listing positions with these wonderfully weird names like the crab, the snake, and yes, even the wheelbarrow. It's a great reminder not to take everything so seriously.
But you can have all the variety and playfulness in the world, and it means absolutely nothing without one core ingredient. The guide puts it so bluntly in one of its summaries. The single best way to get what you want is by talking explicitly to your partner. That's it. That's the glue that holds everything else together.
So, after we've busted all these myths about perfect bodies, about rigid rules, about it all being about one main event, what's left? What is the real secret to amazing sex, according to this guide from 1999?
Well, it really all comes down to these 3 pillars. Number 1 is knowledge, actually understanding your body and your partner's body. Second is mindset, working on that confidence and letting go of all the guilt. And third, communication, being brave enough to talk openly about what you really want. And this right here illustrates that first pillar perfectly. The book is full of diagrams like these, not to be some dry biology textbook, but to just demystify the body. The argument is really simple. When you understand basic anatomy, you replace mystery and anxiety with knowledge. That knowledge builds confidence, and that confidence gives you the words and the courage to communicate. See how it all connects? It really is the foundation for everything else. Ultimately, if you had to boil the entire philosophy of this book down to one single idea, it would be this quote right here. It's a call to stop looking outside of yourself for a script or for approval. The real path to amazing sex is to look inward, listen to what you want, and create your own definition. So it turns out that even way back in 1999, the best advice wasn't about new tricks or impossible standards. The real secret was, and still is, totally timeless: knowledge, confidence, and communication. Which leaves us with a question that's just as important today as it was then. Once you clear away all the junk and all the myths, what does amazing sex actually mean to you?